Hello, my dear friends. Hello, I'm Holly Elissa Bruno, and I'm coming to you from snowy New England on December 23rd, 2024. Wherever you are on Earth, and I know about being anywhere on Earth, I've just flown in from more than halfway around the world. And wherever wherever you are, may this holiday season be a time for you to come home for may this holiday season be a time for you to come home to yourself in a way that feels at home, freeing, loving, easy, peaceful, restful, and as a friend of mine used to say, easy as Sunday morning. Look, this program it's called Trauma Survivors Walking Each Other Home. We meet every Monday afternoon to talk spontaneously from the heart, from the soul, and from the mind about what it's like to be an adult who survived trauma. There are so many of us. Maybe you're like me. Like me means I denied that I was from a traumatizing family. I totally denied it. I was told I was from a perfect family. I mean, I knew things were not loving, but I didn't really have role models of how else they could be. However, and let me blow my nose because flying all that distance, excuse me. What I acknowledged in my last week or two of being 78 is this. The trauma that I experienced in utero and then at birth and then throughout all of my time with my family of origin seized my brain and educated me to survive. My brain was seized into survival mode. My brain, I can feel it happening now. I'm so grateful I can identify what goes on. I can see the pictures of the executive function being flatlined, all of that wonderful light up activity, like behind me. The light up goes down by 5 to 10% to like, just can't think straight. I'll give you an example. I was in India and a small group of people, everybody from India who had settled elsewhere. But me, so a lot of people were singing Hindi. I was like humming. They were speaking Hindi. It was a delight. And yet, at the end of an evening, of a long touring of all of this genius, remarkable Southern Indian 6th century sculpture and architecture, often monolithic, meaning from one stone. Ravika was giving all this information, and I just felt everything going. Have you ever felt that the information is coming at you? It's going. Oh my God! There it goes! There it goes! There it goes! It was just boom, 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 and I said to her, "Sweetheart, I'm not able to take any of this in." And I could tell that didn't compute with her yet. And I hadn't talked with her personally about having complex post-traumatic stress disorder. But I just said, it's okay, we'll get it later. I just need to know the most essential. And after that, you know what she did? She put out a sheet every day with the information, essential information. And that grounded me. Oh, when I was a child and I couldn't think straight, I didn't know. I thought I was getting mentally ill like my mother. I thought I can't stand this feeling of being totally out of control, because being out of control means, at least what I've witnessed in the adults who are out of control, is they're going to hurt. They're going to punish and they're going to demolish and they're going to destroy and they're going to annihilate. So being out of control meant totally being at risk of death. Now, this is really bleak for the holiday season, but I'm going to tell you, a lot of the holiday literature is about going through hard times. How do we go through hard times to come back home? What happened with the Jimmy Stewart character in It's a Wonderful Life? Wasn't he about to throw himself over the edge? Didn't he have a family, but wasn't that not enough? I have seen so much of people with trauma who don't acknowledge the trauma, because who wants to hear about trauma? I mean, if you're listening now, you've got the courage to hear about trauma. But who on earth wants to hear about trauma when we can talk about, hey, how you doing? Oh my God, you look beautiful. Oh my God, where'd you get those earrings? Oh my God. That's the kind of life we also can do. However, the abiding truth with me as a trauma survivor is that I live, and here's my new word, befriending what I haven't wanted to befriend. And that makes all the difference. Now, what do I not want to befriend? I don't want to be saying that I'm an incest survivor. I don't want to be an incest survivor. I don't want to be a person whose brain shut down and I couldn't think straight as a child. I don't want to be a person who was so terrified I wanted to run for the hills. I don't want that. However, it is what I had. And as one of the seminal pieces of literature, it's called the Big Red Book for Trauma Survivors, actually for adult children, trauma and alcoholics, says, how could we have turned out any other way? How could I have, given the circumstances, how could I have turned out any other way? How could I view Christmas and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and Diwali? How could I view all these times of celebration without the mixed company of sorrow and delight? That's who I am. And it's what I have. So today, what I thought I'd do is talk a little bit about being solo, meeting 7 new people, traveling with them throughout the whole month of December until just recently, discovering things with them, singing with them. They were singing in Hindi. I was teaching them stuff in English. It was a remarkable journey. Most of the people were in couples. Most of us were over 70. And I was the only one who talked about being a trauma survivor. And I didn't really need to talk about it except to say to myself and others, no, that's a choice I can't do. I've made a choice not to do that. I'm not going to climb up to the top of that precipice in the heat because it's too much. It's too much. I'm not going to take that boat ride, which doesn't have a safety ramp to get us from the dock onto the boat. I've done that before, and it was scary, and I'm not doing it. When I say what I'm not doing, I'm saying yes to myself, and the yes is, sweetheart, stress, re-traumatizing myself is nothing that I ever want to do again. There are plenty of opportunities for it. It happens all the time, re-traumatization. But I know, and I know what re-traumatization will do. It will call back 2 things, and here's the befriending. It calls back the brain to, which means me. My whole self becomes a simple survivor. Just, I got to survive. And I think this is not going to work anymore because I'll be 79 next week, right? And at 79, it's not going to be about running from death. It's not going to be about surviving death. It's going to be about befriending death. So here it is, my both end message for this Christmas, Hanukkah week. The message for my heart, from my heart. Trauma, the pain, the abandonment, the loss, the fear, the terror, the tremors doesn't go away. However, I can befriend it. And when I befriend it, I can become, here's the cliche, my own loving parent. And I'm going to give you an example of how to get through that. And that sounds awful, just get through it. But, there's a recovery guide for adult children, and it says, the solution is to become your own loving parent. Everybody's looking around like, what the hell is that like? We don't have a loving parent. So how do we know what to become my own loving parent? Come on. And I tell you, years, I was pissed. Wait a minute. Come on. I raised my own parents. I took care of my own parents. I took care of a lot of other people. I was the hero on this, and I did remarkable things because that's what I had to do. I'm not bragging. I'm telling the truth of the trauma survivors. We have to step up. If we don't step up and do great things, I didn't have the right to exist. So when I heard that the solution was to become my own loving parent, I was angry and sad. We're talking about deep grief. Angry because, wait a minute, doesn't every person deserve unconditional love at any point? And can't we get that from another human being? Can't I, this is what my struggle inside was saying to me, can't I be with another human being who will hold me, love me, be there for me, be a safe person, a loving person? And for years, I thought that was the answer. And it helps. It's sweet. Those moments are sweet, aren't they? When you have someone like that that's just there for you. It took me a long time to find that. I certainly had friends, lovers, that was hard. I've come to see that this image of having somebody else, another human being, who's going to be that loving parent is not going to happen, because that other human being has got his or her needs to have loving parents too. And so, part-time, we can all be loving parents to others. Most of us can. And part-time, I can accept the loving parent love from another person. And I have done. And I might again. I will again. I am again. And yet here's what it gets down to. If being happy over Christmas, over the December holidays, over Hanukkah, is about becoming my own loving parent, and I didn't ever experience that, and worse than that, I don't know what it feels like. And then I have Mother Teresa, God help us, Mother Teresa saying, the hunger for love is much more difficult to remove than the hunger for bread. The hunger for love is much more difficult to remove than the hunger for bread. She's right. She's right. And so many of us provide that to other people. My nature now is to sit with people and listen and be there. I just open my soul and I listen. And I hear. And I don't judge. Judging is like gossiping. What good is gossiping doing for anybody? It's just introducing poison into a hurt relationship, right? I need to gossip about you. I'm not feeling good about myself. Gossipers are bullies. It's the same thing as denying myself love. If I don't know how to love because I didn't get love, do I then quit? And the answer I've learned is no. And I can tell you from my journey to India, beginning in Bengaluru and going through Goa and flying out of Mumbai and being in all of these remarkable places with these everyday remarkable people and going through remarkable experiences, waking up one morning and not being able to breathe well, wheezing. Well, of course, I'm staying in all of these historic, wondrous guest hotels. I mean, they're wonderful. I've posted pictures on Facebook. They are brilliant. And yet they're musty. Yeah, they're musty. And the places to which we go are often musty. And the dust that comes up from the roads is musty, and Bombay still has pollution. All of this is going on. I know I'm in a country where this happens. And so I wake up and I'm wheezing. I think, oh man, I've been here before and I've asked for help, had chest x-rays. Nobody could figure out what's going on. Well, look, as a trauma survivor, not being able to breathe is pretty typical, right? We're having the life choked out of us. Our breath is being taken away, not like by, beautiful things, but breath is being taken away because we learn to hold our breath rather than to breathe. So I'm wheezing. And I decide, and here's that becoming my own loving parent without even thinking about it now. I said, I'm going to get help from a doc. And so at these hotels, I'm in Goa on the coast. And this guy, this doctor, Logesh, comes to my room, examines me, says the same thing. Your breathing's okay. I said, okay, no, I get this, but why am I wheezing when I wake up in the morning? And so he said, look, let's, if you had allergy tests done, I said, no, when I think of allergy tests, I think back in the day when they put all these spots on people's skin and they itch like hell. It was often, I said, I haven't had that done. He said, oh, today it's easy. Could do it for you through a blood test. I said, are you kidding? One blood test? He said, yeah. All right. So I said, let's do it. So he sent another person in that evening. I got a big blotch of, was quite colorful, where the blood was taken. But so I'm getting the results. To what am I allergic to? What on earth makes me stop breathing? Well, it's probably dust. It's probably mildew. It's probably mold. And it's probably fear. Let's face it, fear. And there we come back to being trauma survivor and holding my breath and not feeling I had the right to breathe. But let's look at the healing here. The solution is to become my own loving parent. I said, I'll talk with the doctor. When the doctor said, you're okay, you can keep going, but we'll get you these tests done, I said, great. I got the test back today. I'm back in Boston area today. Well, morning doll is not my best thing. Honey, I got to look up the ingredients in morning DAHL. I got to obviously get this test done with American Culture Foods, etc. Come on. Oh my God, what kind of python do you think I am? But so the first thing I read was the foods. Most foods are good. Thank God. Citrus and lemon and all the stuff that heals me. Yay. However, what I didn't get, and I need to get it, and what are the substances, the breathing substances that stop my breathing? What are yours? I mean, do you have toxicities in the environment that get to you? And is it anything less than a metaphor, or is it just plain real? When I say I had toxicities in the environment that caused me not to breathe, I remember as the littlest one in the family, scrunching myself into a tightest ball that I could behind my father's large chair in the living room. Children were not allowed to play or be in the living room unless there was like a gathering that adults were there. And when things went crazy in the night and there was screaming and throwing and yelling and violence, and I had to hide. The living room was dark because nobody was allowed in there. So I just said, okay, oh my God, I can't do a closet. Probably one of my sisters is in there. I can't go under the bed. They know that one. where the hell can I hide? So I went in the dark living room and I swished myself up behind that large, overstuffed, not a comfortable overstuffed chair, but a kind of, I don't know, kind of like very formal stuffed chair, and held my breath. There was violence going on. There was screaming going on. If I got in the way, I could be the next one to be a recipient for the violence. And I held my breath. Do you see, now I'm 78, almost 79, and I'm traveling the world again. Why? Because my desire is to be at home anywhere in the world. And so I travel afar, more than halfway around the world, to learn and to be and to hear and to sing and to dance and to move. All of these things. And I don't want to be stopped by fear. I can choose to be stopped by limitation. I know at 78, I'm not climbing to a place for me to get out of breath and be uncomfortable. That I'm not going to do. That's a choice. But I am going to experience as much of the beauty as I can. And the only way to do that is to befriend the part of myself that I'm afraid of, that I was taught to be ashamed of, and to make it my own. And so let me tell you what happened now on the way home from Bombay, really Mumbai. I left my hotel at 12:30 in the morning. Driver was very friendly, taking me back to this exquisitely architected Mumbai airport. I've got my bags. I got my passport. I said goodbye. Got a bottle of water. Don't have the boarding information. I've got the boarding information, but not the boarding pass, because I can't get that in advance. But I show up. And I'm okay. I asked for help. All of a sudden, I'm at Emirates Airways. I keep looking and asking for help. Not everybody speaks English, but I keep going until I find Qatar or Qatar. I get the help. And then I look for business class. Now, what have I learned to do? I take care of myself by paying for business class. I save my money and I do that. I had a trauma therapist say to me, whose money is it? When I was upset about spending money on myself, who earned that money? And it took me a while. I earned that money and I paid for that round trip business flight from Boston to Bengaluru and then back from Mumbai to Boston. And once I got there and got checked in, from there I was okay. I had, and this was serendipitously, but it wasn't serendipitous at all. I had ordered a wheelchair service, not because I didn't think I could walk, because I usually do. Well, some of those airports are huge. But I got wheelchair service because I'd had a kartoffel. I had a problem with the Al Mahar service, which is in Doha Airport. Here's the truth. I'm in India. I'm flying out of India through Qatar. And the city and the airport is Doha. And Doha has this great service I discovered where people meet you at the at your gate, come right up to the right up to the where you're getting off the plane, and they accompany you to a lounge, and they accompany you to the quiet room if you want to take a shower, and they accompany you to have food and drink, whatever you want. Then they pick you up in ample time and they deliver you straight to the front of the line to get on the next plane. And honey, when you're flying 20 hours, that matters. So I, taking care of myself, had attempted to book that service for the way back. It was a wonderful service on the way over, because after 5 hours of travel and, at the end of the day, I was ready for a shower when I arrived in Doha. And I had 3 hours. So instead of just sitting in a lounge and having a cappuccino and some wonderful food, I said, oh my God, what I'd love to do, I'd love to take a shower and wash my hair and put on a new outfit. And so I did. So what I'm saying here is, as a trauma survivor, I have learned and I'm learning how to befriend the things that scare me. So instead of letting them scare me or being in fear of them, I just say, okay, I know I've got these vulnerabilities. Let me get help. Okay, so I was organizing this for the way back. I was online and then I was calling, and then I had folk from the hotel where I was talking with El Mahar, and they were saying on a technicality that they couldn't book me. The technicality was not true. It was because it was not true. I knew it, I'm not going to go into it, but I knew it was not true because if they couldn't book me, how could they have provided me service on the way in to India? I'm sorry, into Doha without providing service on the way back. So, I did my best advocating. I was very clear. People from the hotel did their best advocating. They were very clear it wasn't going to change. And so there you have it. Another principle that I love about India. People get the principle that I have at the heart of me as a trauma survivor. Grant me the serenity to accept the people I cannot change, courage to change the one I can, and wisdom to know that one is me. So when I got it, just as over and over again, my colleagues and friends in India were saying, well, it's what happened. I can't change that. A woman I got to love dearly. She, her house got flooded and monsoony stuff going on during this time. And she cried and she wept and she went on doing her job. And instead of just being totally wiped out, she knew that this was the karmic thing. This was what she was dealing with. And I know from my life experience that it isn't easy for me to travel. And my mother was agoraphobic, that there was a time when I felt agoraphobic, when leaving my condominium in Cambridge, Massachusetts was really hard. I was fearful I would be struck down by panic attack, be struck down by a flashback. The beginning of recovery is very hard. So I have learned all these things to take care of myself, and I take care of them as much in advance as I can. So I plan a trip where as much of my being at ease and being at home is managed. I do a small group. This group I was with was 7 other people. That's beautiful. I do a group that arranges all of the historic hotels and the wonderful hotels in the middle of cities. I mean, they are exquisite, these hotels. And if they're not exquisite hotels, they are exquisite heritage places on like safari places where everything is outside, but it's also really, really well done. And yeah, I did. I did an elephant safari. 2 elephants, watch dad and son come on out and eat. Right there. Right there. So how can I do this? How can I be my own loving parent? How can I befriend these things that terrify me and live my life without being agoraphobic, without being restrictive, without saying, I can't do that? How can I live my life? And 2 things happen. One, I befriend the harsh parts, and I know that they're there, and I'm ready to be as loving to myself in the midst of them as I can. And on my return flight from Mumbai to Boston, I saw that I could do that. When it turned out that this service that I had on the way in, the Almaha service, wasn't possible, one of the people said, just order a wheelchair service. They'll take you through all that custom stuff and they'll get you through faster. And because you have global entry and business, you're flying business class, all that stuff helps. I mean, paying for status helps. It is. Does I accept that. I'm grateful when I can. So there I am at this glorious airport. And I'm taken to this great lounge, and the food is there. I've got a couple of hours to just rest. And so I have a cappuccino. I have a Indian sweet that's homemade. And after a while, I have a meal. And I was eating a little cheese ball. Now, not a cheese ball like one that's been rolled in nuts and stuff, but like a mozzarella ball, you know? And I bit into it. And it was kind of like strange on the inside. And I said, it tastes okay. But I thought, mm-mm. So I just put it to the side. However, okay, so I got on the plane okay. Once I got on the plane okay, I started feeling uproaringly sick to my stomach. So when people were offering me food and drink on this flight from Bombay to Doha, I said, I don't think I can eat anything or drink anything. I just need to stay hydrated. So I feel sick to my stomach. They said, well, you think you're going to be okay? I said, yeah, I do. So they kept bringing me these bags to throw up into, and they brought me this healing elixir. I wish I could have it now. I'm going to see if I can find how to make it. It's fresh mint, lemon juice, and honey, and it's chilled. And there's something else in there. I don't know, look like kale. But it was so healing. It just soothed its way when I couldn't eat. And so I spent that 5 hours being sick, cleaning up, being sick, cleaning up, being sick, drinking, resting. And I was okay until it was time to reboard. It was time to have, I think, that 2-hour time that I had in Doha, and those happy smiling faces of Al Mahar people were not waiting for me, but there was a wheelchair waiting for me. And I said, look, I'm not feeling well, but I would like to just rest in a lounge. And my most important thing is to get to the flight on time. And so the guy said to me, you know, there are medics here. In the lounge? Would you like to see a medic? I said, yeah, let's do that. Now, there it is. My way of being as a child who had terror was to avoid doctors at all costs. Just avoid them. They might give me bad news. Well, I've learned by being ill in other countries, and also just by life. I got to befriend that part of me that's not doing well. So I said, yeah, just get me settled here, and then please call a medic. Now, this is like Doha Qatar Airport. I mean, it's very modern, it's very hip, it's very international, and weren't very many English-speaking Americans there, which I think is really cool. I'm sure there are. I just didn't encounter them that day. But so up comes this guy on his bicycle with his backpack, and he's a medic. And I tell him what's going on, and I say, I just want to be sure I'm good enough to get on this next flight. Oh, I want to know what's going on, if there's anything else besides just food poisoning. So he takes my vitals. He says, your vitals are good. I said, great. So I'm going to get that next flight. Anything I could do for food poisoning? He said, just keep hydrated and, get it out of your system if there's any more left. And so now here came the challenge. I'm glad I did that, because when I got on the 15-hour flight from Doha to Boston, and I said to people, I don't want to order food. I have been nauseous. I'm not hungry. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm here, but I just want to rest and get home. The head of the business first class flight attendants came up to me, and I could tell. I mean, this is it. You see, we know, trauma survivors know, and we all know, trauma survivors' essential question: am I safe? Am I not safe? If I'm safe, I'm good. I'm happy. I can be me. If I'm not safe, then I have to take care of myself or ask somebody else to take care of myself. So I wasn't safe in the business class lounge in Doha. Even though I'd been there before, I wasn't safe to do anything but rest and ask if I was okay to travel. And I had the courage to do that. What if they had told me you're not okay to travel? I would have asked for help. I would have asked to be hospitalized or whatever else it took for me to get ready to get back on a flight. I'm really glad I asked that. Give me my vitals, let me know if I'm okay to fly. Because when I got on the flight, this woman was doing her job, but I could tell there was a cold checklist in her. We know those cold checklists. It's different from, we're glad you're here, and we'll help you get through this. No, it was, we don't want you on this plane if you're going to be sick. I said, oh, no, I get that. I mean, she didn't put it quite in those words. I said, look, here's what's going on. Food poisoning. Most of that has passed. If it continues, all right, I'll just keep hydrating. I'll rest. I'm not going to eat the food. And now this was it. This was where the brilliance of being a survivor and knowing what I had to do and befriending that fear came out. I looked at her and I said, I had requested to be checked by a medic, and the medic has given me the go-ahead to be on this flight. And I trust that because I feel, yeah, I'm tired. Food poisoning is no fun. I'd like to just lie down, but I can do this. And I did it. I mean, I was so out of it that after, I don't know, 7 hours of flying, I heard all these plates clinking, and I thought, oh, well, maybe it's time for breakfast. I didn't know what time it was. And I was just listening to music, Billy Joel, through my headphones so I could sleep. Not that Uptown Girl helps me sleep, but there, sing me a song, piano man. Yeah, I could da 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 da. Do 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 do. So I'm sleeping. I hear clicking plates. I get up knowing I need to go directly to the bathroom to take care of myself. And once I've done that, and I'm not sick, I'm grateful for that. I then asked the flight attendant, so is this breakfast being served? She said, oh, no, we're not even halfway through the flight. I mean, we were like just over France at that point, and we had another 7-something hours to go. Here's the thing that changed inside of myself rather than going into the, oh my God, I'm alone, I'm sick, no one knows me, nobody will take care of me. I went into be your own loving parent. And I said, okay. She said, is there anything you need? I said, yeah, that mint lemon chilled drink, whatever it is, honey, keep bringing it because it's sustaining me. And so all of the rest of the time, I just put on the attendant button and I'd say, bring me that drink. Take away the old ones, bring in the new ones, bring me water, which I've got right here. After a while, I said, brat, a banana, rice, apple juice, toast. So I had them bring me toast, but that didn't feel right. They didn't have bananas, but somebody had one, so they gave me one of their own. So I had a banana. Actually, I didn't eat very much of it at all. But here's the thing, my friends. For 20 hours, I was an abandoned child, sick at, 37,000 feet, halfway around the world, No one knew me. No one loved me. No one was looking out for me. But because I am now a seasoned survivor, I know to do whatever I can to simplify my life. And that means three things. One, feeling the feeling. What's the feeling? Fear? Name it. Do what I have to do about it. I'm afraid. Am I okay? Can I fly? Here I am in Doha. Can I fly that 15 hours? Feel fear? Face it. Call the medic. Yeah. That's so different than avoidance. Do you know avoidance as a trauma survivor? So many of us do. Avoidance. I would have avoided it and just said, just shut down, just dissociated. So number one, feel the feelings. And if fear is there, say it. Tell myself the truth. Girl, you got to have food poisoning. This is not you. And then the second thing is to ask for help. Don't trust anybody. Don't rely on everybody. If you want something done right, do it yourself. Honey, I asked for help over and over again. And when I wasn't getting it, I was clear. I mean, when I finally got to Boston and the wheelchair was there, the woman there in Boston thought I was just a regular non-sick person. And she said, you walk up there. I said, no, I need help. I need a wheelchair. She said, no, you checked your records. I said, since that time, since reserving this, I have gotten food poisoning. I haven't eaten the whole 20 hours back. I need help. So she kind of rolled her eyes, but I didn't care about the rolling of the eyes because I was being a loving parent to myself. I needed that help. When getting on the flight in Doha, everybody else had boarded and I'm sitting back there and they're saying, is everybody on the flight? I'm waving. I said, don't worry, we are not going to leave without you. But I didn't let the panic. Here's the thing. When I feel the brain shut down by 90 to 95%, the executive function shutting down, when I feel fear overtaking me, when I feel fear becoming my voice, my motivator, the minute I start to feel that, that's when I can say, I don't have to do it. I can get help. So the first thing I can do is feel my feelings. And if I'm feeling fear, say it. Soothe myself. The whole way back, I either took care of myself. I took care of myself. And if that meant throwing up and getting more of those bags, I did it. Asking for help from the flight attendants, I did it. Making my way to the bathroom, I did it. Sleeping for 15 hours, waking up and being told, got another 7.5 hours to go. Okay. Sleep as much as I can. I did. And then I got back, and a dear friend of mine was picking me up, and Sandra. And I said to her, sweetie, I'm really sick. I'm not going to be able to meet you outside. I'm in a wheelchair. Let's figure out what we can do. So we figured it out. And she wheelchair was all loaded up with, the trolley was all loaded up with my bags. And so she managed it. And I had to walk a little bit. Once I got in the car, I was with her. We were checking up on her grandkids, checking up on her, filling her in on me, just being friends, what I needed, connection, because that's the third thing. The first one is feel the feelings and learn, take the data from them and take action. Don't react, act. And the second thing is to ask for help. And the third thing is to feel the connection, feel connected. I found ways throughout all of that way back and all of the time in India when I didn't know a soul to be connected. Souls meet souls. You know when you can talk with somebody. I know that I knew right away that Radhika, the guy, was a soulful person. I knew we could talk. I knew I could say to her, I'm a trauma survivor. She said, I'd like to hear about that. I said, well, if we find time, sure. She, of course, was a trauma survivor too. Is every soulful person a trauma survivor? Is every author, every musician? Does everyone have the need to face the unbearable, the unfixable, the unknowable, to be able to find peace? And I think yes. And if you're with me, I think maybe it's January, I don't know, soon, January 7th. I'll announce it next time. I'm going to be doing an international program on a World Forum. It's a World Forum for Early Childhood Educators, and they have something called the Cafe. We're going to be talking about the topic of when we have faced an impossibility and how facing that impossibility has helped us become who we are. And trust me, this is far deeper than what doesn't kill you makes you strong. Honey, everything that I endured and chose on the way back, including 3 hours driving from Boston to my home in central Massachusetts with Sandra, after connecting, knowing that I was starting to feel chilled, knowing that I was exhausted, I said, Sandra, I need heat, and I'm going to just lie back. And that's what I did the rest of the time. Got to my place, 3 suitcases. I said, Sandra, if you can heft these into it's all first floor, just put it in the kitchen. I'm good, and I'll be okay. Got here, and then I took care of myself further. All I did was I texted my 2 BFFs, and I said, I'm hurting, I'm sick, and I need you to do hopefully well-patient check-ins on me. I'll be texting you. If I don't text you for at least 4 hours, text me back, I'll hear the ping. And if that doesn't work, call me. Because I'm in a place not just physically of exhaustion, but I'm spiritually at a place where I am between 2 worlds. Now, here's what is a scary thing for me is with the history of mental illness in my family. One of the tough things about trauma is feeling like purgatory. Like, I don't want to live in the state of terror, like that somebody might be ready to kill me. I don't want to live in that state of like survival. I want to befriend where I am, even if it's scary. Even if it's scary. And it was scary. Who wanted to have a throwing up throughout the airport? No, but could I ask for help? Yes, I could. Was it smart? Yeah. Did I realize when I asked for help that would seal my deal to get on the flight? No. But I did know, the attorney in me and the survivor in me knew, Holly, straighten up, look the person in the eye. It's that kind of culture where you can do that and say, I'm okay. Not only do I have the medic's permission, but I'm okay. Food poisoning is something that passes. I'm okay. But we want to be sure. I said, yeah, you don't want to have, but anyway, I'm going to bring this to a close. What I'm trying to say, my friends, is that holidays are tough because they bring up loss and pain, and they bring up just what Mother Teresa, of all people, who's talking about how, she's just full of love. Full of love, and what she's saying is the hunger for love is much more difficult to remove than the hunger for bread. So the gift that I have developed is to just be with people and love them. And this is a gift I'm beginning to be more able to do with myself. I can't say that I'm the greatest soother on earth. And I can't say that I'm not angry and sad, that I don't have some wonderfully enveloping big teddy bear of a person to hug me and say, you're okay, sweetheart. You're wonderful. You're okay. I would love that. I would love for death to be going home, as my relatives think it is. I would love for death to be a coronation of like, thank you for everything you have chosen to do for the good. I don't know what death is. I know that systems are going to shut down. I know something's going to happen with my spirit. I don't know. I mean, I just lost a very, very dear friend, Wendy Dunning-Carter. I thought about her a lot. I don't know, but I know that here's what I've learned. Being traumatized, I was terrified, and my life mission was to run away from being killed and death. Now, I'll be 79 next week. My life mission is to befriend life, and this Wendy used to say this to me, life on life's terms. Befriend it. I get sick in Bombay, I get sick in Bombay. I take care of myself. If I need help in Doha, I ask for a medic in Doha. If I need a friend, if I need to stop talking to a friend so I can lie back, I lie back. If I'm afraid I'm getting into this like na state because I'm dehydrated, I'm hungry, I'm exhausted, I'm alone in my home, I text my friends and I say, I need you to touch it, to check in on me. And they do. I have learned, and I'll close with this, I have learned that as a trauma survivor, I shut down very, very quickly if pain is about, if pain, violence, rejection is about to come my way, I will protect myself with the grandest way. You might not even see it happening, but I'll know that the shields are out there. And I came to see when I came home and there was no one here. I mean, I have had people here. There's no one here. And much as I love my son, this is not something he could do. I came to see how much I have still a need for someone to watch over me and someone to physically be there for me. And my befriending of my life on life terms right now is to open my heart again, as I am with you right now, and say, I'll give and take the loving wherever it is, as long as I feel safe. And so, my friends, on this week, Christmas Eve comes tomorrow. And all of that story, the child being born under traumatized situations, but being honored from birth. The star was there. The wise people were there. The mom was there. The light was there for the child. I wonder, was there light? Is there light there for every child, including and maybe especially those born into trauma? When I went back to reading my book, I read my first memory as of late. So befriend. I'm learning to befriend the harshest, most difficult, most, I want to get out of here and avoid it parts of myself. But just like I'm going to be 79, just like my hair is gray and white and brown and all this stuff, and my skin has been around for a long time, and I don't do so well when I'm wheezing, huffing and puffing. And I'm not going to become a ballet dancer or a belly dancer. This is from my friend Madeline, who died a year ago. Madeline Birmingham, my spiritual director, a cynical sister, who said to me, You can't make a bad decision, Holly, as long as you don't hurt yourself or anyone else. As long as you learn from it, you're good. So as I head into the unknown, just as I did flying halfway around the world, may I remember to be that loving parent for myself. And if, yes, my little girl within me is weeping and crying and saying, someone please come hug me, I can say that. Not in such a way that it'll get all these like troubled people coming my way, but that when someone hugs me, I can feel it. And I have learned to feel love through words. I'm feeling it now. Namaste. Namaste. Thank you for being with me and being with yourself this week. That the light begins to return to our days. And to my friend Denise Wikiki, I hope to see you next week, honey. I'll still be 78, and I'll be happy to see you. I love you all. This pathway isn't easy, but it is one of the deepest, most meaningful ones I know. I'm going to stop the recording and say thank you and bless you.